Good morning, peeps. Here we go. 8th grade ELA, April 6th through April 10th. You might be a little bit confused about those dates. Remember, we only have a 4-day week this week. We have Friday off. So here we go. Loading. Welcome to week 2 of our digital distance learning section of 8th grade ELA. This week, we're going to continue talking about approaching adulthood, what it means to become an adult, and we're going to add on another layer talking about what it means to become an adult during different time periods in history. So today's Monday, April 6th. We are week 2, lesson 1. If you're keeping track, this is our 6th lesson in this sequence. Today, our agenda, we're going to go over our what, why, and how together. I'd like you to do some iReady. You're going to do a critical vocabulary worksheet, which I will walk through with you. And then we're going to start the story Marigolds today. We're only going to read half of it, and I'm going to explain how that's going to work to you when we get there. What are we doing? Why are we doing that thing? And how are you going to know that you're on track? So our what? Today we are going to be going through critical vocabulary for the story Marigolds, right? So we're going to focus on that story for the rest of the week. And you have to be able to understand the critical vocabulary in order to be able to make it through that story, right? So we've had several stories in the past that have been written in different dialects or have been written in different time periods. And knowing some of that vocabulary really helped you to work your way through a story. How are you going to know that you're on track? At the end of the day today, you're going to be submitting your critical vocabulary Google Doc, which I am going to show to you shortly, and you are going to have read up to the top of page 219. So, iReady. Look at that fancy little graphic I got. You are going to log into Clever and click iReady. So as you can see, here's my computer screen a couple of days ago. This is what it looks like for me. I don't know if this is completely what it looks like for you. I don't know if you have like a district page and stuff, but I do know that you have a favorites and iReady. You're going to click iReady, choose either My Pathway or Teacher Assigned, and set a timer for yourself for 15 minutes. Some of you have tested out of all of the things that are in iReady. If that is you, if you have tested out of My Pathway and you have finished the teacher assigned that I have given you, you need to send me an email so that we can figure out together what interests you on iReady that you would like to explore and do next. So find a cozy spot, make sure that no one's distracting you, and start your lesson. Critical vocabulary. Look at this fun little picture. I wish I could say that I found this picture and put it as the background, but that didn't happen. It was part of the slideshow. So your critical vocabulary. I'm going to go through the vocabulary sheet with you. It looks like this. It says Marigold's Critical Vocabulary Collections, page 227. So I understand that that's after the story. That is where the critical vocabulary is listed. So you are going to use your understanding of the vocabulary words, not just any random words, the vocabulary terms throughout this story, okay? And you're going to use your understanding to answer each of the questions. You must use complete sentences to answer your questions. You also need to answer the entire question. So what I noticed last week with some of our work is that you might get a sentence, and after that sentence, it might say why, or it might say why or why not, or why do you feel that way, or can you explain further? And a lot of you skipped over this why, or that why. Okay, you didn't really explain. You have to answer in complete sentences and you have to answer the complete question. There are only 5 questions here for you to answer. When you're done, you're going to hit submit. Okay, so that is your task before you start reading. Loading. Here we go. So critical vocabulary, that is what you will be turning in at the end of the day. So the story Marigolds is a short story by Eugenia Collier which starts on the collections textbook, page 213. It has sort of like an orangey, yellowish feel to it, right? It's a pretty bright page. And it says, during the Great Depression of the 1930s, millions of Americans experienced poverty due to widespread unemployment, right? Unemployment was everywhere. African Americans were particularly affected by the weak economy. In an age of racial segregation and prejudice, they generally had fewer job opportunities. So, my friends, the Great Depression began in 1929 and lasted well into the 1930s. During this time period, there were high unemployment rates, which led to greater competition for jobs among white males, leaving black males with lower paying jobs or no jobs at all. As a result, it became more common for black women to work outside the home as domestic servants or clerks. So I want you to think about this time period, right? The Great Depression began in 1929. That's not even 100 years away yet, right? So like my great-grandparents lived during the Great Depression, and I grew up to be about your guys' age with my great-grandmother. And she was so used to having to hide her money. We would go on a trip or something like that, and she would put her money in her pillowcase and sleep on top of it because she had grown up during the Great Depression and she was afraid that her money would be taken, right? So we're thinking about a time when there's a lot of unease, right? People don't have jobs. That's what high unemployment rates mean. That means people aren't getting paid, right? We're kind of thinking about that as a period of time. Oops, that's not going the right way. We're kind of thinking of that as a period of time similar to right now, right? Some of you have parents that are able to work from home. Some of you have parents who aren't able to work from home, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in what's happening right now as well. So this is an interesting time to be reading this piece. So today, I'm just going to reiterate, you are going to be reading from page 213 to the top of page 219, okay? And then we will pick up where we left off tomorrow. Have a great Monday, peeps.